Having understood the sources of income and how exactly is income taxed in Singapore, now let's proceed to understand the difference of two terms, trading in and trading with. Where trading income of a foreign entity is concerned, the source rules as discussed above would be important in determining whether that entity has a tax liability in Singapore in the light of the activities carried out. For income tax to be chargeable on trade income, the foreign entity must be trading in Singapore and not merely trading with Singapore. For the former case, the foreign trader would be taxable on any profits attributable to a Singapore sourced income. For the latter case, trading profits would be regarded as sourced outside Singapore, and accordingly, such profits would not have a tax exposure. Now, what they have said is, I want your attention specifically focused on the foreign entity must be trading in Singapore and not merely trading with Singapore. So, having an office in Singapore or having a warehouse or having a distribution center or having an outsourced center within the geographical borders of this country would mean you are trading in the country. When they say you are trading with Singapore, you could be sitting in Japan for all I care, and you would be buying or selling goods to a party in Singapore. So that is trading with Singapore. Trading in means you have an office, a warehouse, maybe a liaison office, a showroom, any of these within the geographical borders of the country. That is what we understand by trading in. And in the former case, the trader would be taxable on any profits attributable to a Singapore sourced income. So if you are trading in Singapore, all of your incomes will be taxable if it has arisen from a trade in that country. In the second case, trading with Singapore, I'm sitting in Japan. I sold goods to a Singapore company and I received my sales revenue. It would be taxed in Japan, not in Singapore. There would be no tax exposure whatsoever. Whether a person is trading in or trading with Singapore is a question of fact. If an agent regularly contracts for the sale of goods or for the performance of services in Singapore on behalf of a non resident, the non resident may be deemed to be carrying on a trade in Singapore. Essentially, the main factors that would give rise to trading in Singapore would include securing and concluding of sale contracts in Singapore, performance of the contract in Singapore, the passing in Singapore of title or property in goods, the payment for goods or properties in Singapore. All the above factors are equally important in determining whether a person is trading with or trading in. Due weight should be attached to each factor depending on the facts and circumstances surrounding each case. Now, securing and concluding of sale contracts in Singapore. Now, I am a tutor and I have started teaching Singapore tax and I've started enjoying that. Now, I want students to join my classes. So I tell you that why don't you talk to people around you? Why don't you convince them? And why don't you get them to join my classes? You're like, okay, I'll do it. I also give you an added incentive. I tell you, listen, I'll give you a small incentive also for doing this. For whatever sale you bring me, I'll give you 5% of that. You're like, okay, fine. It only helps you, gives you more money. So I have appointed you. I am not physically present. I have appointed you. You go to your colleagues, you go to people who are studying with you. You tell them that, listen, there is this person who is conducting a class. If you want to join, you can pay this much amount and join. So you are securing the clients in Singapore, the contract is getting concluded within the geographical borders of that country. You are concluding that on my behalf. You are like my agent, and my activity is happening. Or see, an agent is an extension of the principal. So it doesn't matter whether I am not physically present, but you are physically present and you are doing that on my behalf. So that would be included here. The performance of the contract in Singapore, the activity has to be completed in Singapore. It has to be delivered in Singapore. Now, please understand, some of us might say, I have to be physically present, open a coaching center there and teach you. Some people might say that if I have an if I have a batch which is all Singapore students, although I am sitting here, the service consumption is happening in that country. So it, and the contracts also were concluded there, not here. So contracts concluded there, and my broadcast or my the presentation of my class, the consumption of my class is not happening here. It is happening in Singapore. So performance of the contract is happening there. Although I'm sitting here, the consumption is happening there. That might be considered. The passing in Singapore of title or property in goods. If I'm talking about commodities, then the physical custody gets transferred within Singapore, and the payment for goods or properties in Singapore, payment happens in the country in that currency, and the title of property also passes within the geographical borders. All of these points should be considered in deciding, whether the trade is happening in or with Singapore. Now, if say for example, I am a Japanese entity, I manufacture goods in Japan, and I have set up an office in Singapore where all the material is kept and the sale happens from that location. So transfer of the title of that particular item, the actual sale is getting concluded within the geographical borders of that country. Hence, that would be considered here. In deciding whether or not a non-resident trader is in fact trading in or trading with, the tax authorities would typically ask the following questions. Does the agent accept orders in Singapore on behalf of the non-resident person, or does he merely transmit the solicited orders to the non-resident trader for his acceptance? Now, if I have appointed you as my agent, you are talking to the customers on my behalf, you are convincing them, you are maybe collecting money from them or giving them my account number, but you are the one who is accepting the order from the customers. You are processing the orders, and of course, I am delivering them. But the other processes are taken care by you, who is present there, on behalf of me, who is not present there. That would be income generated by trading in the country. Are the goods sent directly to the buyer or to the agent as an intermediary before onward delivery to the buyer? If it is directly, say, delivered to the buyer, it could be trading with. But if it is delivered through an intermediary, that is you are the agent, that would be trading in Singapore. How does that happen? Sometimes when I want to place an order for, say, for I want to buy Jordans for myself, I place an order online with an American supplier, and he doesn't pass the material through a delivery agent. He doesn't pass it through a trader here. The material is directly shipped to my location. It is directly shipped to my house. In that case, it is an export sale from USA to India. So they are trading with India. But the US company has a depot here, or they have a go down here. All the Jordans that they want to trade with India are transferred from USA to the office here, and then that go down or that office sells the goods to me. So my it's happening through an establishment created right in the country. That would be considered as trading in. And direct export delivery to the customer without having an intermediary in between would be trading with. Does the agent maintain a stock of goods in Singapore that belong to the non-resident? I have only recorded versions which are sold through a pen drive. Now, what I do is I record the lectures and I send bulk pen drives to you. I ship them to you and you sell them. If you are maintaining a stock of goods in Singapore, then that would mean it is trading in. However, you are not maintaining a stock and you are just securing orders and I'm directly transmitting the goods to them. That would be trading with. Where does the title to the goods pass? Does it pass within the geographical boundaries of this nation? What are the terms of the agency agreement? Agency agreement is the agreement where I have appointed you to conclude trades, to sign trades on my behalf. Now, if you have all the authority to sign on any agreements, I have given you a power of attorney to sign on any agreements and on my behalf, and I would be bound by the acts that you are doing. This is a blanket approval for any and every activity that you wish to do. That would be considered as, again, in those circumstances, it would be assumed as if through you, I am directly operating there. So that would be considered as, again, trading in. What is the mode of payment adopted? Is it like a direct transfer, or you are remitting it through some other account? And where is the payment effected? Where does the payment actually take place? And where does it? So when I say payment becomes effected, think about another situation. Okay. One way of payment is Satyamit paying to you, and that is how I would understand payment. There's another way in which payments can be concluded. Say, I have to make payment to you, but I have to collect money from another individual in Singapore. I have to pay it to you, who is there's a payment to a Singapore person. There is a receipt from a Singapore person of the exact same amount. So what I tell this person who is supposed to pay me, I tell him, why don't you go and give the money to Ashna? That way, my payable is settled, and you were supposed to pay 5,000 to me. I was supposed to pay 5,000 to Ashna. Let's avoid this circuitous movement. You directly transfer the money to Ashna, and your payable to me, I would consider settled. My payable to Ashna, she would consider settled. Now, if I were to take a very true to letter kind of a view, where I'm being extremely rigid, I would say, no, you know what, there is no payment that happened from my end because I did not have any cash outflow. It just got settled. But in reality, you were supposed to pay me and I was supposed to pay Ashna, and you directly paid Ashna. So the payment got made effective in Singapore, and therefore, I could say that the trade is happening in the country, not with the country. So all of these points are basically, the tax authorities would ask these questions to determine whether the trade is happening in or the trade is happening with.